So let's get started. Welcome everybody to the Certificate in Python for Finance, the CPF. Yeah, we have specializations in asset management, algorithmic trading and computational finance and a bit more. My name is Yves, founder and CEO of the Python Quants as well as of the AI machine. I try to keep it maybe not short but quick, right? I have 42 slides, 42 is the answer to everything, as they say, since Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And let me dive into my slide deck that I've prepared that we will share later on as well, so that you can benefit from it as well. Here is the agenda, but most of the single points just have a single slide or maybe two or three, and they are mostly visual. Let me get started with the CPF program itself. So on a high level, what have we created over the last couple of years? And when I say over the last couple of years, our journey started actually 20 years ago. So this year we have 20th anniversary. The company, the Python Quants, was founded in 2004. I can't even think about it myself, right? We have established this program now as our core product, the CPF, and when you see what we have included in there, I would say it is even a bit more than at least the 1 year master's program with similar specialization. So you get hundreds of hours of instruction, you get thousands of pages of documentation, hundreds of notebooks, and thousands of lines of ready-to-use Python code, right? I think that's quite a bit. And most people don't go through every detail. Just to say this up front, it is rather that people try to find their topics that they need most or that they are mostly interested in, right? So you have all the flexibility. Also time-wise, that's one of the most frequently asked questions. How long do I have access to the resources? And with our program, you have indefinite access to the resources once you sign up. You're not having access continually to your resources. You will also benefit from updates or maybe new stuff that we add to the platform and to the CPF as it stands. So here we see a bit more of a detailed overview. We have the foundational parts, for example, the bootcamp, which is really focused and concentrated, a bit of crypto. We have Linux basics, mathematics basics. NLP, you see here 3 hours, that's basically a bit outdated. We have just started in this cohort a new class about NLP, which will end in stuff that is required to build large language models. So starting from the very beginnings with Python strings, let's say, in NLP, going over packages like NLTK, sentiment analysis, regular expression processing, etc., to quote-unquote the very end, what is popular these days, the LLMs. Then we have Python for databases, Excel, financial data science, Python for finance basics, and another class that is even not yet on this slide is Python for finance key skills. So we have a ton of resource, as you see here, in the basics part, but also leading to the applications, right? RL for finance. This used to be 15 hours. We are currently doing yet another class based on my new book. I'll come to that in a minute. AI in finance, 18 hours plus 18 hours here based on the book. Python for asset management, AT bootcamp, algo trading. Here you see that's one of the core topics, obviously with dozens of hours of instruction, plus also the computational finance part. So a lot of resources. You not only learn about the technology side of things here, but also about the financial background. But I like to say we are Python first, so it's not like an academic exercise at a university, right, where finance is introduced and a bit of programming is taught. We are rather coming from the tech side and teach the necessary background at the same time. So here, for your reference later on, I'm not reading this out aloud here, but you can maybe get a glimpse of what people have said in the past about our program. So with regard to what is covered in mathematics, it's basically tailored obviously to what we cover in the program, right? Which means that we cover very basic stuff in terms of a little bit of set theory, which you need for different things in financial mathematics, to functions, to whatever I thought when I was creating the curriculum for that is necessary. And we can imagine primarily for the computational finance part, but you also benefit here for the other parts as well. It can't replace a let's say, bachelor science in mathematics. That was not the intention, but the intention was to introduce math topics and to review math topics with the Python code that's required, such as linear algebra, for example, ordinary stress regression, all these important topics in finance. A bit of background about myself for those of you who haven't heard about me or haven't read anything from me, which is difficult these days when you are interested in Python for finance. I personally started my Python for finance endeavor 20 years ago. So really the first person I hired for a company started working on Python topics applied to computational finance. That's where my PhD is from. So in option pricing, hedging, right? All these topics. So it's a 20-year endeavor these days, right? And here you see the books. And I would say the Python for finance books, that's a book that's used in lectures around the world these days by practitioners, etc. Right? I'm just in the process of writing, I can say finishing. Of course, I'm still writing my next book. Here's the brand new cover, reinforcement learning for finance. So you see AI, like here, AI in finance, right? Artificial intelligence in finance, and now reinforcement learning for finance. We are getting more and more specialized, not only in the field, but also with regard to what we teach. And I like to say that with us, you're always at the forefront of what Python and AI are doing in the financial domain, right? For those of you who want even more details, where I'm coming from, what I've done in the past, right here you see the long version. Python and finance. When I started the company, let me put it that way. I started trying to sell Python for finance back in the days when nobody wanted to hear anything about it. So I sold Python to the companies. Now we are in the phase where we sometimes, not always, sometimes need to sell why people should study Python for finance, right? And here you see a summary, right? So Python skills are highly important for landing any type of quant job in the financial industry, period. There is no doubt about this, right? It's not saying that with certain companies or in certain areas or in certain departments or functions, right? It is simply that it has become a standard. This is like asking, do I need to understand and speak English in order to work in the financial industry? Everybody says, of course, right? And the same holds true for Python these days. And with the rise of AI these days, where Python plays similar key role, this has become even more so, right? With regard to the roles, right, there is hardly any quantitative role these days. So I'm not talking about, let's say, customer-facing roles in retail banking, for example. They probably can get by without Python skills, right? But a quant role, no matter where, right? Quantitative analysts, the quants, data scientists in finance, risk managers, algorithmic traders, financial engineers, portfolio managers, right? Fixed income people, quantitative developers, right? Those who implement algorithms, market researchers. They need to deal these days with a ton of data, and also the professionals that work in the back end, that are responsible for the back-end infrastructure in the financial institutions. They all need to know Python, right? Even if they might be well-versed in some other languages or with regard to databases or maybe developing front-end application, Python always plays a role. So that's simply a given, and I think it's hard to argue against it. And we can now look left and right, like in the insurance industry and other related industries like real estate. We are not yet there in these industries, but this will be the same aspect there as well. So if you want to have a glimpse at what to expect in our program, you can have a look at our YouTube channel. There you find a ton of free online resources, right? Like the whole bootcamp that we've recently done. We can go over, let's say, 8-9 hours, condensed material with a focus on the key aspects of Python for finance. Feel free to explore that and to get a feel of what to expect. Right now, I pick out 2 classes because time is scarce today. I cannot go through all the details. I've provided the high overview, but I wanted to mention that for those of you who might not have yet like the strongest background in finance, maybe coming from a data science perspective, or maybe have done some machine learning and now you might want to migrate into the financial domain, we provide you with the basics that are required in the field, right? So I said Python first. Yes, that's true, but we also teach financial theory. We also teach basic algorithmic trading strategies. We also explain how to hedge options. So in all these contexts, you will not only get some code and some abstract examples, it will always be supported by the proper financial theory. And Finance with Python, this is a very introductory class which builds the basics in finance, Python, and a bit of math, and a combination of all of this, right? So that's, for example, just one class out of the many. Then on the other hand, we all know that these days finance is A, data-driven, and B, AI first, right? And therefore we have a ton of AI in our program, even before the advent of ChatGPT, etc., right? So AI is simply replacing traditional normative finance by data-driven AI first finance. And you see here we have 24 modules about general AI, mostly deep learning techniques applied to, let's say, financial time series data. And now with my new book coming out and this new class, we have added also quite a bit of stuff, obviously, to the reinforcement learning side of finance. So AI and finance, a very, very en vogue topic. I'm just in the process of organizing with my co-organizers in Austin, Texas, a conference about AI and finance. That's simply something that is there and it's there to stay. Therefore, it's not only that you say, if I'm working in finance, I need Python. No, you also need AI, meaning machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning, and everything associated with that to land your dream job, or maybe to build, for example, your own algorithmic trading outfit, right? So our major tool for you to access the tons of content that we provide is the Quant Platform, right? And on the Quant Platform, you find content, you can execute the code, you will be provided with support, right? We recently also, it's not only that we teach AI for finance, we also use for example, the GPTs of the world via APIs and summarize content, provide transcripts, provide full text search over the whole video content that we've got. And we have added, and I come to that, also a chatbot which is fine-tuned on Python for finance topics as well as on our content, right? You also find all the books that I've published in PDF form on the Quant Platform. So it's, I would say a tremendous amount. And most people say, well, in the beginning, it was that much. I could hardly imagine to go through everything. And I always say, as before, you don't need to go through everything. You need to find your way. We guide you through that, right? And then you will find your primary areas on which you want to focus. So here, for example, you can search the complete platform, also the videos, right? When you search for something like TPQOA, that's our algo trading package for Wanda, for ONA, this trading platform, you can search and you get hits, and you even get here the links to the seconds, right, to the minute and the second in the video where the respective package or whatever you're looking for is mentioned, right? So you can really navigate easily via full text search and links that are provided to the places where you find exactly what you're looking for, right? Here you also see the same here with regard to the videos. Pandas, here was the search term, obviously, and it shows you exactly, this is a video obviously where pandas is used quite often. You see exactly minute by minute, second by second, where pandas is mentioned in, basically my speaking in the audio. And on the other hand, we have the chatbot as well, which is trained, and this is of course something that you won't get via ChatGPT or any other search function like Google or ChatGPT, right? When you say which modules, for example, here this was an example query, focus on the usage of pandas for financial data science. And then it shows you exactly which modules in the program and which here, for example, which notebooks, right, use pandas for financial data science, and then you can navigate exactly to the single things that look most interesting and most beneficial to your current problem. Or, of course, what we know these days, you can ask it, for example, to provide some code snippet for a financial topic. And again, here it is fine-tuned and trained on our proprietary content as well. Right, so you have study plans for the live cohort. So most people follow the live cohort, but you don't have to. You can also study full self-paced. We have 3 cohorts per year. The next one is starting on the 6th of May, but you can always get in early, which I recommend for everybody, so that you can get started with the preparational classes first. You might want to review mathematics concepts. You might want to review Python for Finance key skills or some other topics, so that you have an easier start with regard to the program itself, where we have live classes and other stuff that is to be covered. In particular, when you are not able to work full-time on the content, this will get you really a head start when you can get started earlier before the live cohort with the 12-week program starts. So with the current cohort, we are in week 10 here, as you can see, and there are 2 weeks left, and then the practical phase is about to start. There's also here the 12-month study plan for the self-paced delegates, right, which stretches out the content a bit longer. That's basically what it is meant for. We have, of course, many delegates which have demanding full-time jobs. They might also have families that might need to travel every once in a while. So we can accommodate basically every schedule because we provide the full flexibility and usually don't have hard deadlines for anything. We have indefinite access to everything. So that's what we strive for, and what people give it the feedback that we receive really value. A few guiding principles in this context, and in the meantime, let me have a quick look here at the questions. There haven't been that many, the one that I caught, right? Some guiding principles, and I want to focus on 4. One of them I have mentioned already. That's Python first. So don't get me wrong, every once in a while get emails, it used to be more often, but that ask, which algorithmic trading strategies do you teach and sell? How can I implement them, and can I generate 100% return per year? This is not our business. We are not selling financial advice, algorithmic trading strategy. We sell skills, right? We want to empower you, yourself, to do the research to be successful, either in applying for your dream job or in implementing your own algorithms, your own trading ideas, your own asset management strategies in a real world scenario, right? So we have then the second principle here, which says that everything that we do is quite specific, meaning that we use algorithms and examples that are very specific in nature, and we are not on the strictly academic side where we say, well, let's get started on a very high level and let's think about what type of categories we might have, and then you spend like 10 sessions and haven't written a single line of code, right? So we provide specific, implementable, reproducible examples so that we get you started right away. It's not like when you want to get your driver's license, right, that you first go to the university and study for 3 years how a car is built and right, what the issues are and how to make it safe, etc. You see practical examples, and this is what we do as well here. Reproducible. So what we try to do, this is not always possible, what we try hard, is that we make all examples reproducible based on static data sets, based on code that is reproducible, and not some stuff that we throw in the ring and say, well, let's give it a try. We don't know if it works for you or not. Again, that's a hard thing. That's more or less our responsibility, right? We are striving for 100%, but we have a high percentage degree, but not 100, because this is simply due to the fact how open source ecosystems work, right? Then we also expect you, of course, not just to listen, right? It's not that we are sitting here in a movie theater and we say, well, enjoy the ride. This is not about enjoying the ride. Of course, you should do it, but this is the second priority, I would say. The first priority is that we get you up and running with doing the stuff yourself. So if you want to learn to play the piano, it doesn't help you really any further if you just watch YouTube videos of Lang Lang, how well he's performing on a world-class level, right? This is nice, this might be inspiring, but you need to go to the piano, you need to do it on yourself, and you need to learn from your mistakes. Same holds true for the driver's license, the same holds true for swimming, right? I haven't met a single person who learned to swim without having spent time in the water and having done the movements for yourself. And the final example is, right, you need to do the push-ups yourself, nobody else can do it for you. So we expect you to gain practical experience. This is something where you are responsible for, right? Therefore, not that we say you're responsible for honing and building your skills, but we provide you with a ton of exercises, right? Basic ones, simple yes and no questions, multiple choice questions, simple exercises, more involved exercises, test projects, tutorials, and the like, right? There's so much stuff on the platform. Again, you're not expected to work through everything. This is more like a menu of options. When you say, well, data structures is something I'm well versed in, I don't want to spend too much time on data structures here, then fine, maybe focus on control structures or focus on NumPy and the array objects, right? You have the choice here, not only multiple choice, you have also the choice on what stuff you want to focus on, like exercises here, right? About controlled structures, sometimes you provide hints, right? And stuff like that. There is a lot of that stuff available that you can work on to sharpen your skills and to maybe get, in the end, indeed what we are hoping for, to black belt level Python for finance. If you get stuck with whatever topic, if you face technical issues on the Quant Platform, there is a user forum that you can reach out to. Not only we can answer there, obviously, the community is growing and growing, and we are so happy that we have many delegates that stay with us over years, right? Not everybody does that, but we have many people that ask me if there's something new, or it's nice here in the community, and they get started from a day onwards, right, to answer questions of others. They are active on the Discord server, etc. So this is really what we appreciate, and you can use the user forum obviously 24 hours a day. We are in the German time zone, so depending on the time of the day, it might take a little bit longer or it might be quicker until you get your answer, but you will get your answer. And you can also ask, of course, the chatbot first, right? Maybe the chatbot is the fastest option that you have available. So that's, of course, something new that we have just recently added. The user forum has grown over the last couple of years. Then we have the Discord server for real-time online chats, which we usually do once a week. We call these live Q&A sessions, but you can, of course, use the Discord server also to connect, quote-unquote, socially with like-minded delegates. Ask questions, post stuff, or interesting resources that you have found, or events that you have heard of, or packages that you have seen and want to ask a question about, right? This is something that we also have institutionalized quite a while back, and many people are active here. We also have a public Discord server, which we called Quants@Dev. There we have 1,000+ members on that Discord server. That is something you can, of course, join as well. This is beyond our program that we have built in parallel, right? So the final project, many people ask me, what do I need to go in order to get the certificate that you have shown up front, right? And here I provide the link. I'm not going through the details, but think of it like kind of a bachelor's thesis, but in the form of a Jupyter notebook, which is standalone, reproducible, and executable, and self-contained, right? And it's also to be hosted on GitHub, and it must be executable on Google Colab. What the content is and how to do it, don't worry about that too much. Just keep in the back of your head a final project is to be delivered in the form of a Jupyter notebook at the end, which is the major requirement to obtain the certificate, right? We will share, Nina will share, the team will share with you the link to the slide deck afterwards, and here I've also the link to the current brochure, where you find a bunch of details with regard to timing and some more general information. It's also a link behind these screenshots, so behind a couple of these visuals, right, you find a link, and you can of course always reach out via email, or now the time has come to ask your questions. Can put them in the chat and I will answer them before we then wrap up, and the team will follow up with you with regard to any questions, with regard to special packages and whatever, right? So that's now the point to wrap up, and maybe you have questions that I'm happily willing to answer.